The two issues that we discussed this morning are in some ways separate. The closing the gun show loophole issue is about making sure that people that are purchasing guns have background checks. It's a very important piece. These are large commercial venues. But I was very interested to hear the discussion about dealer licensing. There was a discussion about how the federal and state laws interact. It is very clear in the federal law, 18 U.S.C. 927, that the federal law does not intend or preempt state law. So what that means is that the federal law is the sort of floor, but states can go above that. So in other words, other states have regulated and do regulate dealers and create their own definitions of dealers. They can't create a situation that is less restrictive than federal law, but they can create a situation that is more restrictive.
Sir, could you give that site again, Stuart? Can you just, in the process of as we're working on it, you're aware of that? Okay. Let me ask you a quick question then. I don't want to interrupt the speakers, but what your analysis was, you weren't preempted from making it more restrictive, but that we really couldn't cite the United States Code and then make our own definition of what the code is. Was that what your presentation said?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
The state is free to create its own regulatory system. We could create our own state licensing. We can do much along those lines. What we can't do is try to preempt or take over the federal definition.
Okay, so we couldn't say 18 or USC whatever means what we think it means. Okay, I'm sorry for interrupting you, but
Chairman,
yes.
if I could just comment, if I understood you correctly, you said that we could not do something less, but we could do something more.
That's correct.
That's not correct. We can, in Virginia, we can pass laws that we want to. We just can't change the federal statute. So we can elect to prosecute a lesser standard or a higher standard under Virginia law, but we can't change the federal standard.
That's right. But as you mentioned earlier, you can't say dealers are someone who are engaged in the business, because that would be in conflict with the floor of federal law. So you could say you could make a more restrictive definition instead of saying the amorphous engaged in the business. You could say 2 guns. You could say 5 guns sold, and that would not conflict with federal law. That would be a separate requirement. You can't change the federal. You can't go below the federal floor. You can't say, a dealer can sell, like I said, 100 guns or 200 guns, because that would clearly make it below federal law. But for the situation that we mentioned, at 2 guns or 5 guns, you could make that definition. And
I disagree.
Okay, so we have a difference of legal opinions. Okay, go ahead, sir.
okay, so for instance, before me, I have I just happen to have the Delaware statute, which creates their own dealers with their own requirements. That is something that Virginia could do, and if you're interested in saying, we know that ATF is not enforcing the law there, that we could create a situation where we would create our own requirements for when a dealer is and when a background check would be required. So I just want to make that clear that there's many states who have their own dealer requirements. So, and that's part of the federal law. So I want to make it clear that we are not preempted from having that discussion. And I think it's important that if that's an avenue that we want to go, we look at that and look at some of the other states who have said, what are that federal law is, we want to go beyond federal law, what are the opportunities there? So I think it's an important place to go. Just quickly on the gun show issue, again, that is those are commercial venues. Other states also have simply not closed or made required background checks in that one venue. It's very clearly defined of what that venue is in Virginia law. Other states have done that, and it's definitely an opportunity. So there are two strains I just wanted to bring up and remind people that there are states who have closed the gun show loophole. There are other states, some of them are overlapping, who have created separate dealer requirements that are in effect.